look at Morgan way up high, trying to get around Neil down that front straightaway. Can Bonnet hold him off? Bonnet's a tough kid.
Well, this race has taken on a whole new complexion here, Brock, with Gant now moving into the third slot, followed very closely by Shepard, and Bonnet right at the quarter panel of Morgan Shepard.
You got to wonder whether or not Neil is having some problems, because now Jeff Bodine is trying to get by him on the outside, and Joe Rutman is right on his rear bumper. So definitely Neil Bonnet has had some kind of handling problems. He is falling back radically. So it's not a question of everybody speeding up so much as it is Neil having some problems.
But so far, no one has led a lap of this race except this man, Darrell Waltrip, number 11, in his Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
And boy, they're still beating up on poor old Neil Bonnet. There goes Joe Rutman by in 98, and number 44, that's Terry Labonte, who's just starting to make a move past. He should get down inside Neil as they go into turn 1. So Neil Bonnet is falling back. He may be on his way to the pits. I don't know, Steve Evans.
Look at this race for 5th and 6th. But the favorite line on the inside is Joe Rutman in car number 98. On the outside is Jeff Bodine, car number 88, the green and white car. This is for 5th and 6th, and it is a battle.
Two very solid young drivers. A lot of future for both of them in this league. They're going to just go after it around here. They're fighting as if they were going for the lead, Steve.
Well, there may be 27 other cars out there, Brock, but right now it's mano a mano, man on man, between Joe Rutman on the inside, the orange and white car, and on the outside, Jeff Bodine in car number 88. Joe Rutman recently moved from his native California to the south and is enjoying his finest ever season in stock car racing, the younger brother of former Indy champion Troy Rutman.
And Jeff Bodine comes from a racing family as well. His father ran a racetrack in upstate New York, so he had plenty of time to practice, Steve.
Perfect situation for a budding race car driver.
Well, he was an expert, a really almost unbeatable pro in the northeastern New England area, short track modified circuit before he came south to try his hand at Grand National Racing. Now has himself an excellent car. That was a car, that number 88 car was a car that Bobby Allison had last year, so it's a first-class machine, and Bodine is driving it very well. Although right now he's got Terry Labonte in that number 44 car right on his bumper. And look at this.
How about it? Bobby Allison is closer now to Darrell Waltrip than anybody has been all night. Bobby Allison in second and Harry Gant in third. We have got a car race on our hands now.
The question is, Steve Evans, is whether or not Waltrip has slowed down or whether Gant and Allison have speeded up. That's the big question. Speculation, according to our watches, is that Waltrip has fallen off the pace ever so slightly, giving the other two guys a chance to catch up. So we wonder, does Darrell Waltrip have himself some problems, or is he just slowing down at this stage of the race, knowing that he's got plenty of speed in hand when he has to have it, and he can just move out at will? That's a question we won't be able to tell for the time being, at least.
Well, one thing I can tell you, this is the kind of racing that some 23,000 people came here tonight to see in honor of Marty Robbins. Whoa, look at Waltrip, Allison, and Gant. 1, 2, 3.
And Mother Nature's just stepped into the picture, Steve. We've got some reports of rain on the racetrack. In fact, we can start to see it falling now. And look at this. If Allison is moving on the outside, he's going to try to take a crack at getting past, but no. The yellow is out. We've got a caution out. We have rain on the racetrack for the second time tonight. You can see it spattering down in front of the flagman. And there's just no way that they're going to continue to race in these conditions. But Steve Evans, the interesting thing is, this is an enormous break for Darrell Waltrip, because if in fact he was having problems, he will have a chance to get into the pits and correct whatever is going on. If it was not the case and he just had plenty of speed and he's slowing down, well, he's okay either way. But it's a lucky break for him.
Well, for a change, the weatherman was right too, Brock, because the forecast was for brief periods of kind of intermittent showers. But it's starting to be just a little bit more than showers now. It's raining pretty hard down in some sections of the racetrack.
Well, you notice the guys have really come almost to a standstill as the rain just tumbles out of the sky now, with Darrell Waltrip in the lead, but Bobby Allison and Harry Gant right on his tail as we go into the caution period. The pace car is out on the racetrack. You've got these guys really slowed down, because don't forget, these cars are running slick tires, asphalt slicks, and the racetrack is now covered with a coating of rubber. So, whoa, boy.
That's what they call a frog strangler down here. A gully washer.
Well, it may not rain in Indianapolis in the summertime, but it sure does in Nashville as the red flag comes out and the race cars head for the parking lot temporarily. as the Marty Robbins 420 comes to a halt.
I told Mary about us. I told her about a great sin. Mary cried and forgave me, and Mary took me back again.
By 1963, Marty Robbins had graduated from his micro midgets to this 34 Ford dirt track car, and keeping with his tradition, he named it after his latest hit, Devil Woman. We're back at Nashville Raceway, where the rains have subsided a little bit. Everybody having fun, keeping dry as best they can, and everybody hoping for a restart as soon as possible. Right now, let's rejoin Ed Bruce up in the garage with our special guest and hear some more Marty Robbins memories.
I'm back with Doyle Ford, and we're reminiscing about Marty's racing days. Doyle, I understand Marty liked to clown around a lot.
Well, he did for sure. He would keep you on your toes because you never knew what to expect out of the guy. He was always up to something different from what anybody else would do.
What's this about making faces at the flag men?
Well, occasionally, during the practice times at the track, there's no one on the track but maybe one single driver. This happened at Talladega, and Marty happened to be the driver that was on the track by himself. So there wasn't a whole lot to watch as far as safety was concerned, and when he'd come under the flag stand, I would pick up my flags and I would pretend I was picking a guitar and singing. And after the practice was over, he caught me down in the garage and he said, I'm going to make a deal with you. He said, I promise never to take your job as flagman if you'll quit singing. And so, you know, he was always doing something like that to just make a lighthearted situation out of the tenseness around the racetrack.
Sounds like he was out there not just to race, but to have a good time, and if he could pull a joke on somebody that worked, that was fine, too.
Well, he did, and the thing about it, he never picked any one special guy out to clown around with. He clowned with everybody. He was everybody's friend, and everybody liked him, and he just made very lighthearted situations out of being there.
He was a character, wasn't he?
He absolutely was. He was a great guy to work with.
Doyle, we appreciate you sharing the stories with us. Now let's get back to the Marty Robbins 420.
And we have some good news here at the Speedway. Ed and Doyle, the rains have stopped. The track crews are out right now trying to dry the racing surface and get ready for a restart. Brock Yates is out and about in the pit area and is caught up with Darrell Waltrip.
Does the race leader have any kind of say with NASCAR as to whether the yellow is thrown or not? In other words, can you talk to Junior and in any way influence whether yellow goes or not?
You know, they have a real funny way of doing things like that. They ignore the leader and watch everybody else. At 55 or 6 laps in the race, or prior to that, I was pointing up that it was raining. I mean, I had a nice lead. It's early in the race. They should know that I wouldn't be hollering it was raining if it wasn't raining. But they usually go to second, third, fourth, fifth black in the field somewhere to get their opinions. So they feel like the leader will be he'd be anxious for a caution, or maybe it's the end of the race and they don't want to take a chance on him giving some bad information.
Well, I can't imagine why you'd want to caution the way the car was running.
No.
What about, did you back down off a little bit near just before the caution, or did Bobby just jump out of the pack and able to run a little bit faster because he was clear of the rest of the guys?
Well, we're having a little bit of a problem. We have a flat tire. So the caution came at a good time for us.
Okay, now what happens with that flat tire? When can you change?
Well, as soon as they crank the pace car up and when we come around, we'll come right into the pit and change all 4 tires.
Okay, thanks, Darrell.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, if he beat a pit stop right now, he might drown because there's an awful lot of water that still has to be broomed onto the other side of that wall.
There's a lot of waiting during the course of any kind of an automobile race, either be it during the practice sessions or in rain delays like this as the tow cars and other official vehicles go around trying to dry off the track. But earlier in the going, Steve Evans had a chance to catch up with one of the NASCAR stars who has a special way of relaxing. And the neat part about this guy is that he can carry his hobby right to the racetrack, right to the main straightaway of the Nashville Speedway.
If you'd have been here about 6 hours before the start of the Marty Robbins 420, you'd have found this man, Morgan Shepherd, NASCAR star, roller skating down the main straightaway. You look like you've been doing this all your life. You're good.
Well, I don't know where I'm that good or not, but actually I didn't take it up till I was about 33 years old.
And you do it just for recreation?
Well, you know, this is a way of getting a good form of exercise. You know, a lot of people go out and run. Of course, I do some running too, but the thing about roller skating, it gives you real good balance. You know, it keeps you on your feet good. So it does more for you than running does.
And with the Marty Robbins song on the PA, it's relaxing out here for you too, I would think.
Right, and I can do a little dancing to that kind of music too, you know.
It must be really spectacular on the high banks of a Daytona or a Talladega on those skates.
Well, I don't know about doing any dancing on the high banks, but you can sure come down them fast.
You ever done any competitive skating?
No, not really. Like I say, I just do it for recreation, and I've been doing it about 8 years now.
You had some other drivers say, hey, Morgan, teach me how to do that.
No, they mostly just say, look, that idiot.
Well, they'll give you a nickname before long if I know these guys.
Yeah, probably will.
All right. Well, the storm has passed at Nashville. We're going to have a restart, but let's not forget the leader, Darrell Waltrip, has a soft tire.
Darkness over me since my true love walked out the door. Tears I never had before. Ribbon of darkness over me.